Hello and welcome to my homestead. Happy New Year to everyone. This is 2023. Today is January 2nd. I'd like to give you an update as to what's happening here. Right now we're in my greenhouse. It overwinters most of my tropical plants. So let me show you a little walk around. I also have a few lettuces here, as you can see. They're a little bit leggy, but for practical purposes, they're still good to eat. So I can have fresh salad. We did have a really cold spell, so we dropped down to 12 degrees. And unfortunately, even with my heater on, my greenhouse could not cope with such cold temperatures. It could not sustain really warm temperatures. And as you can see, my banana palms really suffered, but they're not fully dead. They are recovering. As you can see, there is new growth coming out. So the bulbs are still alive. I just hope that they will recover better once it gets warmer and survive through the rest of the winter. You can see a few of my citruses here. This is a lemon. It still has lemons that are ripening from last year's formation. Quite a few of them. But it already went into bloom. So it's been blooming for a while. And I'm hoping it will form new citrus, new lemons. In the meantime, I'm just enjoying the aroma of all of the lemons, all of the blooms. Now, the stuff that I'm really excited about, if you pivot here, this is my avocado tree. These are blooms for avocados, and there are quite a few of them. So I'm hoping I will actually have some avocados this year. It bloomed last year, but it did not produce anything, and this year I have a lot of blooms everywhere. Every branch has lots of blooms, so I'm very excited about it. My tomato plant, as you can see, did not overwinter very well. For some reason it died, but it is sending new growth from the bottom. So these are new shoots coming up. And even though it's not going to produce anytime soon, at least it will still overwinter and hopefully produce something. Same thing with pepper. It dropped all of the peppers. I guess the transplant shock was too much, but it is sending new growth from the joints. So moving on here, these are my coffee beans. As you can see, they also got quite a bit of frost damage, but some are okay. So I'm hoping that they will survive. Next to them is dragon fruit, this spiky thing hanging on the back, and right next to it is growing some turmeric, which is dying off. That's okay, it's supposed to do that. Here we have a couple of tea plants my sister gave me. I need to spray them. There is a lot of bugs on them. Every time you get inside the building, the bugs multiply, so I need to get some kind of spray. I have citrus here. This one is making me very happy. This is my pomelo. It produced nice pomelo last year, but it's been sick for a while, so now it's finally regaining color. It was very yellow when I moved it here. So it's getting better. It's almost completely green now. Variegated lemon is next to it. You can see the different colors in the leaves. But I'm really excited for the blooms. So last year it only had one bloom. This year it has quite a few. So it's in full bloom production mode right now. Unfortunately, it's also very sick. So I'm hoping it will recover. Now, this baby is a cha-cha. It did not produce anything last year, and I was worried that the latest cold front was going to kill it, just like kill bananas. But as you can see, there is a lot of new growth. It's doing really well. So it's doing quite nicely. And I'm hoping it will produce something this year. Right next to it is this ice cream bean. This is new leaves, new growth coming out from the sides. So it overwinters here, and it's growing really nicely up on top. So it keeps climbing. Over here I have another pomelo. Also was very sick. As you can see, it's beginning to recover. This used to be all yellow, now it's just patchy, and it went into massive bloom. So hopefully it will produce something soon, and next year I should have some nice pomelos. I have quite a few pineapple plants here. The biggest one is growing nicely. Hopefully by end of August it will send a new fruit plant. And the transplanted babies, let's see if I can get over there. They're all in a row. They also don't like cold, but they survived. I have papayas. So far so good, they're surviving as well. A little bit yellowing, but that's okay, that's normal. And I have a mango. This one is not showing a lot of growth, but let me show you another one next to it. So if we go here, this is another mango. That's Julie. And look at these. Beautiful cluster of flowers. All of these flowers are possible mangoes forming, so I am very excited that it will actually produce something. It's a little too young. I will probably strip all of the mangoes off because the tree cannot support that much fruit, but I'm excited that it's blooming and trying to reproduce. So here is my other pepper. As you can see, it's also not overwintering very well, but it is sending young shoots from the bottom. Lots of new growth. So hopefully it has acclimated and it will produce new peppers by spring. And more papayas in the background. So from my tropical garden, let's walk outside where I have a few more citrus. I took them outside from the annex so they can be out in the sunlight and warm air right now. We have a warm wave, about 60 degrees all of this week. So let's go take a look. Here we are. I do have a few saffron crocuses planted. This pot just beginning to wake up. The other pots are a lot more developed, so I'll show you those in a little bit. But let me show you some of these citruses. These are much better strength. Some of them are still kind of sick, but they're regaining their greenery. They're still producing lemons. These are ripening, but they're also in full bloom. So I'm excited to have fresh lemons forming for next year, or now it's for this year. And looking forward to picking the remaining lemons. This is a tangerine tree. It was very, very sick, as you can see. It dropped most of the leaves on the top. Something has affected it, but it's beginning to recover. It's not as yellow as it used to be. It's growing quite nicely, but I hope it will fully recover and actually produce this year. And the rest of the citruses, I have navel oranges and more lemons. As you can see, one of the navel oranges got really, really sick last year. It dropped everything from the top, but there is growth on the bottom. I have a few roses here. they're also not doing very well with all of the bugs. I need to spray them. I don't know what these are, but they're atrocious and they're sapping all of this juice from my roses. Okay, so let me show you one bed where I'm growing stuff for the winter. This is my winter garden. Here we are. In this winter garden I have a few lettuces and some spinach as well as carrots. Rows of carrots will overwinter. They're doing quite nicely even if the greenery is not very high. The roots develop underneath. But I do need to pull out some of the weeds that are beginning to sprout everywhere. Good. So this is my winter garden. Not the herb garden, I'll show you that in a little bit. But it provides greenery for my chickies. My chickens love all of this lettuce. Here we are on another patch, and this is my garlic patch, as you can see. Garlic has woken up and it's growing quite nicely, so by June I should have fresh garlic. There is some leftover garlic growing over there and I need to clean out the rest. Alright, let's go into my backyard and we're gonna take a look what's inside there. So here we are in my backyard. This is one of the raised beds. As you can see, I have a couple of lettuces, but mostly it's the saffron crocus that I want to show you. Crocus woke up. This is the fall crocus, the saffron that you eat, that you utilize in food as a food coloring and flavor. It is unlike regular crocuses. This one blooms in the fall. It's a little bit late planting, so I was hoping it was gonna grow faster, but it just now woke up and it's growing. It probably will not produce any blooms this year, but hopefully next year it will bloom. There is also remaining carrots in here, which I will pull out in spring. They're not doing very well. Overall, I'm not happy with these raised beds. As you can see, it's a complete fiasco. These raised beds really are poor quality. This one collapsed basically for no reason other than because it's such a poor construction and poor quality job. You can see pieces break off. So the whole thing fell apart. This is the second bed of this construction from Wayfair, and this was the first one, so definitely not buying any raised beds from them again. But let me show you some more crocuses here on this side. These are much more developed, so hopefully these will bloom soon. The nice thing about having these in pots, I can move the pots indoors when it's very cold, which is why these particular ones are much more developed. They have been inside my house. I just took them outside so they can get some sunshine and some fresh rain, and they're growing quite nicely. So I can't wait to see all of the crocuses blooming. There's some more crocuses in there. Let me show you my herb garden and the beginnings of next year's. So here we are. These are some of the herbs I had growing in pots for the winter. These are actually staying indoors most of the time. I just took them outside to get some fresh rain tonight and get some sunlight on them for the next few days. So I have dill and parsley and basil. You can see growing quite nicely. When I say it's beginning of next year, because I also have the spinach that just sprouted and it's growing quite nicely. It's a little bit leggy, not enough sunlight, but hopefully it will take off and grow nicely. I also have some scapes from sweet potatoes, from yams, so they're growing. The idea is to get them rooted and develop a few vines just in time, so they will have about 2 months, 3 months in these pots, just enough to get nice developed roots, but not enough to produce serious sweet potatoes. And they'll be transplanted in once it gets warmer into the regular soil, and they will continue to grow. And I also have a couple of regular potatoes sitting inside here. I had a couple of plants of broccoli, and unfortunately really not producing well. My broccoli is blooming, so much for broccoli. It just did not form really good heads. I don't think I will be planting broccoli again anytime soon. So this is my winter garden. There are a few pots still in the house, mostly with potatoes. I'm just treating them so they can sprout, and then in March I will transplant them outside and have regular potatoes. And on this note, thank you for joining me, and until next time.